Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. And this is right in the title, Calm Before the Storm. My dad and I are going to talk about a lot of things that we aren't 100% sure on, right? This is the dog days, as we refer to them. The draft, we've speculated a ton. We've done mock drafts at this point. We've had all these different hypotheses. Now we're going to talk about some scenarios for the Patriots today. The Celtics, I put their asleep, in a little, parentheses in the title, but that's not a bad thing. They're coasting right now. They're actually looking pretty good compared to their East counterparts, right? And there was a big slide for one of them. We can discuss that. And the Boston Bruins, I guess this is it. We're embracing the suck, and we'll probably touch on that and some of the excitement around that. There's been some highlights going around, so I'm excited. Dad, do you want to hit us with the sponsors before we jump in?
Absolutely. You need a therapist in the Pinellas County area in Florida. William McCormick is your man. He is the best around. If you are up for some boba teas and some amazing yummy pho, Moonlight Boba in St. Pete, Florida as well is the place to go. And my little cousin, Abigail, Grafton, Massachusetts, Sip and Savior, amazing protein drinks to start your day. Start us off, Matt. Oh, Matt, I can't hear you.
I muted myself. All right, let's just start us off with Jeff Unknown here, right? I mean, the viewers, you guys drive the podcast. We're here to talk to you about sports more than anything. So we'll jump Bruins to the front of the line. Swayman last game. Dad, did you watch the scenario around the possible fight? How do you feel about that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that referee probably should lose his job and
Yeah.
serve 3 to 5 months in prison for breaking that up. I have no idea. And who doesn't like to see a good goalie fight?
Oh, it's great
And
for the
to be
game.
honest, to be honest, I feel like Swayman could use a punch in the face. I feel like he could use it. I don't know. I wouldn't have hated seeing that the way he's been playing lately. But hey, I'm not gonna get too hard on Swayman because I'm not worried about him. He's still super young. He's still super talented. He was by far our best player in the playoffs last year. He's doing his job. Jeremy Swayman is the Mac Jones of this season.
Oh
When Mac
no.
Jones was single-handedly setting games on fire to get us a better draft pick that led to Drake May, Mac Jones was doing his job. Just like Belichick used to say, Jeremy Swayman helping the Bruins lose that draft. We're up to the eighth spot, I think. Possibly can get up to seventh or sixth spot in the lottery. Do your job, Swayman. Keep letting those pucks in. Get us that excellent draft position. I'm still pissed at those 2 wins against Florida and Tampa we got after those trades. If we don't get those 2 wins, I think we're in like fifth place
Super
and
deep
up for a
draft.
really good spot. Yeah,
Super deep draft. And you
yeah.
talk about the Swayman fight. I mean, if you're the NHL, you're pissed at that too, because a goalie fight probably makes the front page of ESPN. There's a really good chance of that,
Sure.
right? You just let those guys swing. I mean, they put a bunch of other junk on there, so I can't believe they don't let them fight.
Yeah.
And Swayman, it's good to see he has at least some fight in him. I know that there was also some conversations after the game. Elias Lindholm made some comments. Zadorov made some comments. Pete sent a clip of Zadorov, and he was kind of like, the reporter asked, "How does he feel about Swayman taking a stand or stepping up?" I forget what the exact phrase was, and then Zadorov was like, "Is that what it was?" And I think if
Yeah,
you
it wasn't
if
good.
if you listen to the rest of the interview, I believe Zadorov does say like we are giving up A1 chances left and right, and he does put blame on the defense in that way. So I don't think it was as bad as that little clip showed, that because I think you need more context. But man, Swayman is looking rough, and I told you, I think I mentioned this before the season started. If you go to bat for yourself like this in a league where the salary cap is so tight, and you hold out, and then don't stand on your head during the season, I don't know how you don't let your teammates down. And there's even rumblings about that having some stuff to do with Marchand and the contract he was demanding. Because it's like, listen, if you're going to pay Swayman 8.25 and the guy's got like an 800 save percentage this season, why wouldn't you pay Marchand remotely close money, right? One of the major point givers of this team. So, I mean, you're right, Dad. I'm glad we're losing at this point because this draft is deep, super deep. I think this might
Good
open up some.
draft.
we're going to lose on the playoff discussions, but I think we're going to add some draft discussions with the Bruins like we've never really had before. What do you think about that, Dad? How do you feel about this draft coming up?
No, I'm excited. And, Pete knows his hockey. Prickly Pete, Salty Pete. He said this is one of the best, deepest drafts there is. There isn't like a like a Connor Bedard coming out or, or McDavid coming out, but it's stacked with good players. And supposedly there's 7 elite ones, and then there's a small drop. So it's important we get to 7 and hopefully, a little higher than that. So that's, a slight drop, but not big. But supposedly there's 7 can't miss prospects. We need to aim for that. So
Yeah.
but anyway.
And we won't. Maybe we'll circle back to the Bruins here. But Jeff, I don't know if you're still here. If you want to keep talking Bruins, that's totally fine. But a lot of the young guys are getting pretty exciting. I think we talked about Minton maybe last podcast, getting the hat trick, natural hat trick, no empty net garbage, and like the second period, getting involved with Patra and Lysol. Lysol coming up, it hasn't been a negative in some really bad games. I have to figure out if he finished negative last night, but I does Lysol look out of place up in the NHL? I don't think so. I'm glad he's here. Of course he's not doesn't seem as fast on the screen compared to he does in those AHL highlights because the game moves a bit faster and it's a bit hard, less space. But man, I mean that's what we were looking for as fans. But Patrick Brown, just please get him out of there. All those guys, like, come on. Jasmine is sad that Marchand is gone and the Bruins are sucking. It does suck, Jeff, but I think this has been a long time coming. I mean, after that season where we went all in at the trade deadline and then got knocked out in the first round, game 7, I thought my dad and I both thought that last year was going to be the rebuild, and really it ended up seeming to be this year into next year. We kind of stalled and got one more playoff run out of it, and I think that was nice. Aren't the Providence Bruins first in their division? I'll have to check. My dad mentioned Patra. He had a good game, right, Dad? A couple days ago.
Yeah, he had a couple goals and assists. Merkelov's getting his points. Minton's getting his point. I don't want to kind of go circle back to the Bruins.
Yeah.
But man, they're doing exactly what I want them to do as long as they bring up Minton, Patras, and Merkelov. There's 10 games left in the year. What the hell difference does it make? Bring those kids up, get them some damn NHL experience, going into next, training camp, and see what they got.
Well, Tim has a good point, Dad.
Keep stacking up the losses. Keep stacking up the damn losses. So that's what we need at this point. The playoffs are gone. There's no shot at that anymore, especially with the team we're running out there. It's basically one NHL line and a bunch of Providence Bruins guys. A lot of them don't even deserve to be there. So, yeah, Providence is lighting people up thanks to Patras, Minton, and Merkelov. So get those 3 up here. I don't care about the Providence Bruins. So, but Jeff Unknown, I got something for you as far as Detroit goes. So, Matt, do you have that? Do you have that graphic?
I do have that graphic in one second. So Tim's here. No, that Teisel did not look out of place. I expect those players to be back in Providence for the playoff run there. Yeah, they might get some playoff minutes there. Good call out, Tim.
He's getting shots on net. He's not getting goals, but he's getting shots on net. He's creating opportunities for himself. He hasn't been getting minuses. He hasn't been on the ice for goals. So, goals against. So he's the kid's not doing too bad now. He's got some motivation. He's up with the big club.
Yep. So, they might go down and get some AHL playoff hockey, which is not horrible, right? So, all right. Yeah. My dad has been scheming, and he asked me to make this very fancy, high-tech graph. I actually used ChatGPT and OpenAI because I needed so much to do this. So here's this fancy graphic. Dad, what in the world does number 16 stand for, and where are we going with this?
Amazing job. It looks like 3-dimensional almost, their young cap. So, Matt, What if I were to say to you that our draft could be these picks along with 3 7th-round picks?
What a weird scenario.
No second round. No second. And so before you think the old bull just pulled this out of his butt, I actually did some research. I looked at the actual draft chart where it's graded by points. That's how teams do their drafts as far as picks go. And this scenario is possible. The only caveat would be we would need to trade Minton for a high 3rd-round pick, which is very likely with the buzz he's getting. So according to these draft charts, this could be the Patriots draft. 4 picks in the first round, and then 3 picks in the 7th round. That's it. No second round picks, no third round picks, fourth, fifth, sixth round picks. So, Matt, my question to you and the viewers is would you take that scenario?
All right. So I get where so here's the biggest thing about your scenario, right? That's a lot of 5th-year options. So that makes Drake May's timeline great.
That's one of my pros. That's one of my pros.
And which also makes it a bit tougher to make happen because I think teams aren't dumb, right? That 5th-year option is a big deal, especially with the contracts that are getting handed out right now. So it 16th, 24th, 25th, and 28th. Would I do it?
One of those is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, one of those is Detroit Lions. And I'm really curious. So, Jeff, I don't know if Jeff's still here. We got 3 people watching. What were the picks you were trading to Detroit for their first round pick? Do you have that on hand while I talk about this?
Yeah, so it would be the 38th overall and the 77th overall.
Wow.
And according to the chart, that equates to the 25th overall pick.
All right. So Jeff, I don't know if you're here. So Jeff, would you trade the 25th for the 38th and the 77th? So I the problem with I think with this team is we have enough guys, right? And I think what this team needs more than anything is high-end talent, very talented players. So for me, getting from 4 to 16 would hurt a lot. Even if we are getting guys in like the later first round, I feel like we need to get one of those top end high, priority position guys to make it so that we have some bright spots on this roster. So would I do it? No. And a big reason why is because I don't think I think we are so much at a talent deficit that we need to get like a blue chip guy. Jeff Unknown making a call from the Lions office. He would not do that, and he might throw a tizzy like the old bull would for 38th and 77th.
You know what? No one asked you, Jeff. Okay, so don't you just stay out of this. All right,
get that logic out of here.
You do it. So, and the thing is, Matt, that these picks would all be with NFC teams. So I feel like they're realistic in that way. It would involve the Bears, it would involve Arizona, it would involve Minnesota, and it would involve Detroit. So there'd be 2 trade down from number 4, one to number 10 to the Bears to get an extra second, and then from the 10th to Arizona to get an extra second. And then you factor in those 2 third-round picks we have, along with the third-round pick for Milton, and doing all the draft, all the charts, and yep, I said if we could pull something like this off, especially with some of the names you hear slipping, Matt, Ted McMillan, some draft experts have him going in the late first round now. Kelvin Banks, late first round. So let me just say this, Matt. Our 2 glaring holes, wide receiver, left tackle. If you're in this scenario, you could pick 2 of each of those positions. And all you need to do is hit on one of them. If you hit on both wide receivers, awesome. If you hit on both tackles, awesome. But all you need to do is hit on one tackle out of the 2, one wide receiver out of the 2, and it's a completely successful draft. Like you can just, 7th round is supposed to be super deep in running backs. Take a running back, take a center, blah, blah, blah. Who the hell cares? The point is you plug in 2 major holes. Matt, we're talking names like Ted McMillan, Matthew Golden. Some people think he's going to slip to the end of the first round. Luther Burden, Amika Igbaka, like wide receiver. We can get 2 of these guys possibly. We could possibly get Ted McMillan and Matthew Golden if they slip.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is like I don't know how this is like. This is like Madden NFL, my team. Like messing with the trade simulator. I just don't think number one, I don't think it's possible. Like it's very far fetched, right? But I guess if you could make this happen, maybe 4 first round picks is really hard to pass up. I don't like, yeah, but it like a lot of things would have to come in. Brad Holmes has made some interesting choices so far, so the old bull may end up getting his wish with this one. It's it's almost like the other teams have different priorities to the Pats than just trying to screw us over all the time. Yeah,
You guys,
I
listen to me. Listen, you guys have to understand. I'm not making these picks up like in terms of it's what the old bull would do. I am using the same draft score chart that all these GMs use. In other words, if you want the 25th overall pick, you have to give up, and the chart shows you what's fair value. So these trades and these picks are completely realistic if the other team wants to trade back and pick
yeah.
up more picks.
I mean
So
it. Yeah.
I'm not pulling these out of my butt. I'm not saying, of course, it would be hard, Matt, to pull off all 4 first-round picks. I'm just saying if you could,
Well,
would you do it?
so all right. So we got Tim here as well. All right. This is Tim. This is my idea, and this is actually Pete. Pete said that he had the same idea. There's one pick on that board that my dad had, which was 24th, that I think is very attainable. Right. So you have the Minnesota Vikings. They got their quarterback. They have an elite wide receiver. They have a great defensive line. They have the Hunter guy and everything. Right. So they have the 24th overall pick, nothing in the second, and then they have pretty much the last pick in the third round with the 97th. I would love to trade our 38th overall and our 77th. So that would get them a second round pick, and it would get them an early third round pick for their 24th overall. And that would be one spot higher than what than what my dad kind of valued those picks at. If we could find a way to get the Vikings first round pick, that gets us ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs in the draft, and they're going to be going for one of those tackles. It's just like a given, right? So if we can find a way to get, oh man, the dream is Travis Hunter. I think at this point, I have resigned to the fact that Travis Hunter is the premier wide receiver in this draft. He won the college football award for the best wide receiver, and that's while he's splitting snaps, right? Travis Hunter, make this trade, get ahead of the Chiefs, draft the best left tackle available. And I feel like that is a resounding win for this draft. We would still have a third round pick, towards, I forget, I don't know which number we would have. And then, of course, we'd have everything else we had after that. We'd have the third round pick from Matthew Judon. So this might sound like a silly question, Dad, but would you do this trade? Would you trade a second, or one of our thirds, a second, and something else for possibly 24th? And really quick, I don't know who Edward. Is this your buddy, Edward?
Edward, no, but
Rico is in boot
Rico
camp.
is in boot camp. Are we talking about Uncle Rico? Because Uncle Rico, I would draft in the first round all day, every day. That's for damn sure. So,
all right. So
Edward,
what do you think?
Please elaborate on that. Let us know. Enrico Dad.
Enrico Dad.
I'm not sure. I'm not putting it together. Let me just jump on this real quick, Matt.
Yeah.
I would do this trade. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would want the tackle. I'd want like Calvin Banks to have slipped to 24. Like,
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Josh Simmons is another guy. Josh Simmons is a guy that I'm high on. They think he's going to be ready for training camp. Anthony Belton at tackle is like climbing up the charts. He's got enormous like measurements as far as the size and all that. So my thinking was, if we can get 2 of those tackles, beat Kansas City to it. 2 of those wide receivers, that would just be absolutely amazing. I don't care that we don't have any picks. So, oh, okay.
What's up? What's up, Edward? No, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of players in this draft that can kind of be exciting. They have a lot of them that jumped up the draft board with the combine and everything. And Calvin Banks is one of them, Dad. The other guy is the Membao kid. He's jumped up the board. I would just like to get in front of Kansas City and get a tackle before them. I mean, we'll see if we end up standing pat in the second round. That's fine too. But I have been watching some highlights, and I'm kind of sold on Travis Hunter. One big thing I learned though is it's going to be really hard for Travis Hunter to get to this. Haven't followed football in years. You're from Chicago. I mean, it's a good time to start following football if you're from Chicago. Because no offense, Jeff
Oh,
Unknown,
the
but they just
Bears.
they
Bears are
just
going to be good.
loaded up on the offensive line. They got a great coach. The Bears, I think, had a lot of the offseason I wanted to have, especially in the trenches, because Ben
Yeah,
Johnson, of course, Ben Johnson knows offense, and he knows you win football on the
yeah.
offensive line. And we made almost no moves for the offensive line or lack thereof, which is kind of just disappointing. I wish we made some of the moves the Bears did. So
If you're going to start following the Bears, now's the time to do it because trust me, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good quick. So, but anyway, go ahead, Matt.
yeah. So we have Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, and then it's Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, right? The problem
Yeah.
is I'm pretty sure Cam Ward's going to the Titans. Schefter tweeted it out, so he's gone. Shadur Sanders is most likely going to the Browns, and the reason I say that is because, what's it called? Because Myles Garrett signing the contract said that he knew who the Bears. He knew who the Browns quarterback was going to be. So I'm almost positive he knows it's going to be Shadur Sanders. So then you have the third overall pick for the Giants. Are the Giants going to draft Abdul Carter? Are they going to take
No,
Abdul Carter when they have Kayvon Thibodeau and they have
they just,
uh,
they
the
just,
the Banks guy from Carolina? They have two fantastic edge rushers. There's no way they
yeah,
take Abdul Carter. I'm sorry, but Travis Hunter's gone at 3. That's where my head is at there.
it could be. And Matt, I get another thing with Travis Hunter. A lot of people don't realize this. I've been doing more research. He had almost 100 catches and almost 1,300 yards. And he spent 90% of his film work in practice preparation on the defensive side of the ball as a cornerback. Think about that.
Yeah,
That means
yeah.
he
That's
barely
just
did any
depressing.
film as a wide receiver, barely did any practice as a wide receiver, and he threw up those numbers. People say, oh, his routes aren't great. Yeah, no kidding, because he doesn't practice them. They just roll him out there as a wide receiver, and he just makes it happen. So, can you imagine if he actually invests practice and time into sharpening and refining his routes, how good he can be? So, yeah, I am all on board on Travis Hunter. The only problem with your scenario, Matt, is you know, I think Hunt is an automatic hit, but that if you get to that 24th pick and you take a tackle, you get one swing at it. And if he's not good, that's a huge setback. Where my
Yeah,
4 first
yeah.
round picks, you got 2 swings at tackle, 2 of them, and
Two
then you get 2
swings.
swings at wide receiver. So
Yeah, yeah.
just saying,
Listen,
that's all.
they have a traitorous coach. Don't trust him. Chicago. I'm really curious, Jeff. Like, did Ben Johnson like pull a Kyrie Irving and say, "If you'll have me, I'll be back next year," or are you just
He did not.
he's? I think Jeff's just the sour ex girlfriend, and he's just mad
Yes.
Ben Johnson's gone. I'm really curious what that
Steph, I
offense is
think
going to look like without him.
they got kind of lucky that they were able to keep Johnson for another year because he was like the hot commodity last year. He ended up getting, I don't know, it just due to the circumstances, he went back. So it's kind of good that you guys got one more year out of him. I didn't think you were going to get that. I thought he was going to be gone next year, but
Yeah, and
hopefully
you know what's
whoever
crazy?
replaces him for you guys steps up.
Didn't he also like take their second in line for like offensive with him to Chicago or something like that? I heard.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he took like their heir apparent to Ben Johnson to Chicago.
that's tough.
I'd
That's
have to
rough.
triple check that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean Patriots. I don't know anything else in the rumor mill in the football field, Dad, that you want to talk about.
Well, as far as let's shift gears from draft to free agency, Matt. You know, this Stephon Diggs thing is really starting to bother me. It's really, really starting to piss me
Diggs,
off.
yes, Diggs, yep.
The Patriots have currently $80 million left in cap space. So they've spent over like 200 something $1 million on new contracts over the next 5 years. And they went from 130 million in cap space to 80. They could spend another 200 something million if they wanted and still have cap space left. So they have all this cap space left. You got Stephon Diggs, who, from what I understand, turned himself into a model wide receiver in Houston. He went from Buffalo, where he was definitely a diva, pissing off Josh Allen. Like, I mean, you're in a great situation and you shoot your way out of town there. Not smart. He got humbled. He got traded. He went to Houston. from what I understand, he was great in the locker room. He was great with the young people.
Model
Staying
citizen.
staying after practice in Houston to help the younger players, and tears his ACL. Well, there's videos of him. He's way ahead of schedule, way ahead. He's doing like full speed, sharp cuts. They show him like juking training. He looks amazing for someone who just tore his ACL in October. So, and word on the street is you could get him for 1 year, like 17 million. Why are we not doing that? Why in the world? He's a number one guy. He was like leading the league last year, or second in the league, I think, to Chase before his injury. Think about that. He was second in the league in receptions and yards and all that to Chase. Why in the world would we not just take a chance and throw a little bit of money, and God forbid we cut our cap space down a little bit
Yeah.
more and actually get a number. And at worst, if he's not a number one receiver when he comes back, he's going to be a number two. He'll definitely be the best receiver on our team.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think, he also has proven he could do it in a cold climate because we have the Bills, right? He was up here in the Bills and he performs for them. So it's not like, there's been some wide receivers.
Great point.
There's been some wide receivers that have been on the table that have played for turf teams their entire careers. And it's like, do I really want, I'm not turf teams, I'm sorry, dome teams. It's like, do I really want that guy on the team? I mean, like Cup, right? Cup's a perfect example, right? It's like, yeah, I kind of wanted Cup, but I'd be lying if there wasn't a little voice in the back of my head that said, can he do it going from LA? And then, you have Diggs. I would love to sign Diggs. Like, again, we have so much money. Why not throw it at him? And especially bringing some leadership to the locker room. Like you said, he's towards the end of his career at this point, and hopefully he's matured. I would love it. But
I mean, Matt, Diggs, Travis Hunter, and Pop Douglas, all of a sudden I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better about our wide receivers, to go with Hunter Henry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
So
what does Jeff know? What's he saying?
Jeff confirmed Ben Johnson never said that he was going to stay. This was more about the psyche of the final game of the season where they got their freaking butts whooped. Man, that was such a letdown from the Lions. So Jeff thinks his head was somewhere else. Jeff, you know what? That's the struggle of a successful team, man. That's suffering from success. The Patriots dealt with it all the time. Towards the end of the season, you'll have one of our coordinators. Oh, this team wants him. That team wants him. They're doing interviews on the week out leading up to the Super Bowl, stuff like that. All that garbage. It's a thing in the NFL. I think they're trying to combat it. They're trying to change how coaches can accept offers. I think they should be more aggressive with it because it does get weird, and it needs to not be weird. There's so much offseason to get a coaching job. I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Jeff, wasn't defense really the problem for the Lions? I thought that in that game, didn't they give up a ton of points from what I remember? So Kurt Ram wants to see the dog.
You know what, Kurt? His ball
stealing the show.
His ball went under the one of the kids' toys, and now he's barking at it because he wants the ball. That's all. This is Gus. Gus is a good guy. He's all trained to go outside. Sleeps through the night. Gus is a good man. And Gus was Nike's stunt double in our teaser for the mock draft show. He did a very good job.
He's great. Yeah.
So,
Kurt, quick.
Go ahead.
Kurt's one of the Bruins diehards. Have you absolutely given up on the playoffs, Kurt? Are you on the bandwagon with us? Many losses as possible. Getting that top 7 is supposed to be 7 really good players coming in the draft. So Bruins are 8th right now. So are you on board with that? Because Matt, I tell you, I know 2 of the most diehard Bruins guys, Kevin Breon and Drew Gordish. They never chime in here. I don't know if they ever listen, but I tag them on. Let me tell you, these guys, up until the San Jose game the other day, we're still like, game time, Bruins score, yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, these poor guys, talk about loyalty and amazing fandom. But it's just not what you want. And even they have given up. Like I looked at the game last night, even when it was close, they were just like not even commenting. Usually they comment after every goal, they're excited. So I'm just curious, Kurt, if you officially jumped off and no longer hopes of playoffs and all that. Yes, okay.
I've
Absolutely,
given up
Kurt.
on the playoffs.
Get
Yes,
those
I hope they
kids
lose
up
every
there.
game. And Kurt, I don't
Yep.
know if you've tapped into the prospects at all. I think didn't Kurt mention one of his kids or his nephews plays like high level hockey? He does doing really good at hockey.
Oh, his kid does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kurt, you might have
It's
some.
awesome. Yeah.
Kurt, you might have some inside knowledge about other prospects, that are coming up, and this draft looks good. So again, like my dad said, lose every game, just like you said, lose every game. We're not making it anywhere. I do like to see Lysel getting some minutes, but yeah, I've resigned to the fact what we're gonna lack in playoff content, we'll make up for in draft content. I guess
Yeah.
they
That's
are
it. We'll have
unwatchable.
Bruins draft specials, all that good stuff. We absolutely will. They are Kurt. They're just painful right now. And man, those two games, they kill me, Kurt. Those two games they won against Florida and Tampa, coming after the trade deadline. Those my two buddies, they were so excited. They were like, "This is." They feel different now. Like now they're gonna make a run. This is how you play hockey. And I was like, this is all fool's gold. They're winning with like super motivated Providence Bruins guys, and this isn't gonna last. And sure enough, 6 games in a row, loss, 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 loss. And if you look at the shots on goal, they're under 20 almost every game. I mean, it's just not good. It's absolutely not good. So, get Patriots up, get Merkelov off, and definitely get What is it, Milton up? I want to see that kid.
Minton,
That kid,
Minton. You know what's
Minton.
funny?
I want to see that kid. So
You
get
know what's
all
funny?
those kids up there.
When you were talking about the Patriots drafts thing, you said they got to trade Minton, and I was like, wait, was he talking about Bruins draft picks?
Oh,
And now
yeah.
you just called Minton Milton, so you just swapped them. You call, come on, you got
The old bull.
yeah,
Losing my mind. Alzheimer's setting in. Yes.
yeah.
So at least,
No, Bruins are a kick in the pants. Otherwise, I mean, from the NFL standpoint, they did add that Viking center. Hopefully, that guy can have a bit of a career resurgence. Bradbury or whatever the heck his name is.
not
I'm not
great.
mad. I'm not
Not
great,
great.
not terrible. We need to finish bottom
Yeah.
7 at worst to have a shot at the first pick. Actually,
Yeah.
we need to do some research on that. And Tim, if you already understand it, please let us know. But yes, right, if we finish 7th, we get a chance at the first pick. But is there a chance we can be worse than 7th if we finish 7th? How does the lottery work in the NHL? I've never really had to worry about this.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that usually. So we're gonna have to start doing research on that, Matt, because we're gonna have shows on. We're gonna have big Bruins draft shows, and
Yeah.
especially ping pong balls, and then hopefully we get a good spot, and then we can speculate which one of these mega prospects are we gonna get. So hey, we'll make the most of it. And they get a bunch of draft picks too. They got second round pick, and they got second round picks next year, and all that good stuff. So an extra first next year, possibly an extra first the year after. So it might be a long grind, but the Bruins will be back. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, no,
Just
and I
might take
think
a couple of years.
I think there's some excitement brewing with the Bruins. So I'm not out on them. So I'm gonna have a ton to talk about.
Future. Bruins future, not this year.
Correct.
No,
100% correct.
Complete dumpster juice. It's
So
disgusting. Absolutely.
all right. We won't have to talk about them too much because again, this is coasting season more so than anything. But these Boston Celtics, right? Handling business on the road. This is kind of the cupcake part of their schedule. It took a while because they had a really tough stretch against some really tough teams. And now even tonight against the Kings, the Kings are kind of one of those bottom Western teams, right? They are in the playoff hunt. But how do you feel the Bruins that? Oh wait, actually, whoa. Worth repeating, AHL is not a safer league. There are a heap of thugs there who would want to take cheap shots at the talent. That is very true, right. Tim.
It's a good point, Tim.
Way more goons in the AHL. That's where they go to spend their career. Completely right. And there's a lot less.
They're trying to make a name for themselves down there to get back up to the big club. So they're running around like crazy people, hitting everything in sight, roughing up the talent, and hoping the big club's paying attention and like, let's get that guy up here for the playoffs, and he starts smashing heads.
No, so listen, I won't go down the Celtics right now. Kurt, I don't know where that local article is, but my dad will have a fit if Sacco is the certified head coach next year for this Bruins team.
No. That
But
can't happen.
if things
That
don't change,
cannot
Sweeney
happen.
sucks at drafting. Now here's the thing. Do you think there's any world where it happens because they actually plan on punting next year? And what they try and do is build talent, right? And then entice a coach to come the year following. I don't see any coach wanting to come next year. Do you think we're contending for the playoffs next year, Dad?
I mean, it's possible. It's
Okay.
not because we have cap space to, when there's some decent free agents.
Yeah.
So if our defensive core gets healthy and Swayman turns his act around, we could be back in the playoffs. Absolutely. Not one of the top teams necessarily, not necessarily a cup contender, but we could be back. It's just Sacco can't come back. And I know that the odds are against me on this. I understand that most people think Sweeney's going to be back, but I'm still leaning towards he's not. I really don't. I think they're just letting him play out the year. I think it's just gross malpractice if you let that man get involved in this year's draft where you have a lottery pick and like serious good draft capital. You can't let that man after his draft history touch this draft. I'll just lose my mind. And Sacco has to be fired immediately when the season's over. Sweeney needs to be out. Hopefully, Neely's out. Kills me to say that. And hopefully, they just basically do what the Patriots did: clean house, start over, get some freaking fresh thinking in here, get some experience in here. I am tired of watching inept offense and old people who run out of gas when the playoffs come around. I'm tired of it. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of ranting. If the
Yeah.
Bruins run this back with Sweeney and a lot of the same players, oh, the old bull is gonna lose his mind. There's gonna be a lot of ranting, that's for damn sure. Like, and we might put the Bruins on the Red Sox list. Like you don't get to be, we don't get any airtime until you start acting like a real professional team. You bums. So the Bruins better have some major changes coming. I can tell you that right now.
All right. So before we do a subject change for Jeff, I heard some rumors about Mike Sullivan. So right now he's in the Penguins, right? If I'm being correct, Mike Sullivan. Um, I mean I just for me it's hard to imagine we're going to entice a high level coaching candidate to the Boston Bruins, right? I don't know what Mike Sullivan. Yeah,
It's a good
multi.
job, Matt. It's original 16. They still have some talent. It's not a
Yeah,
bum organization. They could be though if they run
yeah,
it back again. They will be bums.
yeah. Multi cup winner, a local Boston boy, McAvoy's father. I mean father-in-law. No, I like it, Tim. And again, we are pulling coach targets out of our butts half the time for the NHL because it's a lot less clear than it is in the NBA and the NFL. But yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I don't know what Mike Sullivan looks like from like an offensive standpoint. It looks like the Penguins have about 23 more goals than us, which is nice from an offensive standpoint. It'd be nice to see 23 more goals this season. Dad, how would you feel about Mike Sullivan?
I mean, he's better than Sacco, that's for sure. I would take him. I would kind of want somebody a little more innovative on the come, like in an offensive system. But Pittsburgh, they were a good offensive team. They just, they get old, and as simple as that. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate the Mike Sullivan hire, that's for sure. But real quick, Jeff Unknown, he wants to know how we feel about the Red Sox preseason. Jeff, I think the Red Sox are going to be good, and we are going to start talking about them, especially if they get off to a good start, because they did spend some money on Bregman. There's rumblings that they really want Vlad, and if Vlad leaves Toronto
Vlad
and
wants them, I think too.
Red Sox start acting like an actual professional team again and throw 500 plus million at him, well then he's going to make the old bull eat some crow, and I'll definitely jump back on the bandwagon. The big three prospects besides Mayer, Mayer performed well, but they're not going to have him start with the big club. Disappointed at how Campbell played and Romano, not great. The bats didn't show up. They're going to still keep Campbell on the opening day roster. He's probably going to be a utility player to start. That kid can field, that's for sure, but his hitting was not good. So Red Sox, I'm excited about them. I think they're going to be good. So,
yeah, no,
Rand's right.
Henry owns the Pens, and they went south. Yeah.
Mm.
John Henry. You know what? It's really kind of garbage, and this is one of the craziest stats I've seen. I might have brought this up in the podcast before. I think it was Tim who told me or showed me it. It was a Coach Chippy highlight or a reel, but it was Crosby's contract has just always been $8.7 million. Have you seen that? I think I sent it to you. That is so lucky for John Henry that Crosby would take such a discount for so long in his career, never going above it, even though he 100% has been worth a lot more than that. Hearing Crochet might be Talkett might be cut from the Canucks as well. Might not be a bad option. Yeah, I guess that sounds good. I mean, took them to the playoffs last year. I don't. Are they disappointing this year in comparison? Do you know, Dad?
It was like middling. Yeah, they're kind of like middling.
Oh, so this has been a disappointing year for them, huh?
That's a new mic.
Yeah. I mean, I really want the assistant from like Colorado or maybe even Winnipeg, like whoever the top scoring teams are, like give me that assistant. And especially if that's the style of play they have, where they're high flying, they have set plays to get out of the defensive zone and set plays to get through the neutral zone and actually set plays to get set up on the power play properly. So you're not just dead 2 minutes where you're helping the other team every time you go on the damn power play. I just want an offensive mind in here, someone with fresh thinking, completely away from the Sweeney Neely Bruins tree. I want that out of here, and I want to start over. That's for sure. What is this, Matt? Oh.
Oh, so my bad. I was muted. He does wear number 87, Jeff, and this is one of the craziest hockey stats I've seen my entire life. Every year, 8.7 million. That's what he gets paid, no matter what. It's so crazy. Number 87 at an $8.7 million contract. It's just silly,
That's a team player.
That is a 100% a team player. And
Tom Brady-ish. That's for sure. Tom Brady-ish.
Yeah, and touching on the Red Sox, Roman Anthony, Mayer, right? Those guys, I don't know if this year's their year. I feel like next year is kind of the year, especially with Story. Story's been kind of one of the breakout players this spring training. Yeah. He's been playing really well. Devers, it sounds like is now comfortable with DH and keeping Bregman at third. Have you heard anything on that?
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be fine. But the Cassis and Devers, they're going to get off the slow starts. They're going to drive us, and they're going to be striking out a lot. So I wish they had full spring training camps so they come out of the gate, pounding the ball. But look for that. Look for Cassis and Devers to struggle in the first month of the year because they had barely any spring training. It's very frustrating.
Yep, and yeah. Listen, and that goes to what my dad said. Go to Florida and say, hey, who's your freaking top assistant that needs a shot? Get him in here, Florida. Yeah. Whether I know we all hate them, but they've been winning and they reliably win.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like let's get some of that special sauce over here. I feel like that's how most coaching hires work, right? You look for successful teams.
Sam Bennett.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Sam Bennett. I don't know. Would you want to cheer for Sam Bennett?
He's a free agent.
Yeah. Swayman.
If he was on the Bruins, you would. Trust me on that.
Swayman should wear one. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, he should wear the 8.25. He should be number 82.
Yeah.
That's what he should be.
Yeah.
Just have you guys thoughts on Celtic City? There you go, Kurt. This is right up my dad's alley. He's been begging for someone to ask about this.
Kurt, that is just absolute magic. Matt, if you want a true awesome history lesson, the first 2 episodes basically tells you everything you need to know about the Bill Russell, Bob Cousy era. It's terrific television. Then the third episode is like that lost 70s era where the Celtics are still pretty good, and there's some good stories in there with Havlicek and what the heck,
Kusi?
Cowens. Like they
Oh,
were
Cowens. Yeah.
Cowens. They were good then, and then the fourth episode's about to get into Larry Legend. They're about to tell the story of Larry Legend, and Matt, I'll have to let me use my HBO Max membership if you're willing to watch it. Kurt, that's the good stuff right there. It's
I bet you
amazing.
Jackson. It'd be really good for Jackson. I might show my son. Kurt, no,
Yeah.
I definitely got to watch that. And it does make us appreciate all those years. Bergeron took the league minimum of one. That's actually, Tim, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
And, I think if anything, that might shine a negative light on Swayman, right? Especially in the NHL where I feel like there's more just for the love of the game than anything else. But, Swayman's not so much of that same mold as Bergeron. If he's a B, I'll cheer for him. Look at that. Tim's not above it. The only person he won't cheer for if they're a Bruin, he
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Any, and then no, Tim, say it ain't so. The only person Tim will not cheer for with a B on their back or a B on their chest is Zadorov. Tim Zadorov, he'll never cheer for Zadorov. That is a fact. Touching on the Celtics, I don't know how everybody feels about. They were literally confirmed bought. I know we've kind of text about this a little bit, Dad. How does everybody feel about that? I know Tim's a Celtics fan. Jeff, I know you're a Celtics fan. Kurt, I'm sure you are as well. It seems like they went to a pretty big fan. We didn't get sold to like some venture capitalist that is just trying to make a profit. I'm feeling better and better every day. It sounds like they had Brad Stevens interview with these guys and had his input heavily in the process, which I love. I trust everything Brad Stevens does because he nails it. So I'm feeling pretty good about this, Dad. How do people feel about the who bought the Celtics? Bill Chisholm or something?
I'm not feeling great. If I had my way, the deal would fall through and it would go to Pags. I feel like Pagliuca, his heart is genuinely into it, and he would keep the team together. He even said it in his statement. He said, "Luxury tax be damned."
Luxury tax
like
be
if
damned.
if I got the team, I'm keeping it together. And I'm not convinced this guy will. Once he starts seeing, like, here's my worry. They buy it for 6.1 billion, and I looked it up what his net worth is, and this is never accurate, but they're saying the guy's net worth is like 7.5 billion. Like that's it. And I'm sure he has partners and all that, so it helps. But I wanted a guy with like 50 billion. That money was like, you get that 200 million tax bill because your players are over that apron and goes, whatever, we'll be back in the championship next year. So let me write that check for you right now. We start selling off like Porzingis, Holiday, White, to get that under that apron. I am not going to be happy. I don't want to hear it. It's so crucial. Matt and I, we've been beating this drum forever that the Celtics keep winning the championship. At the very least, getting to the championship. They cannot afford to not get to the finals. It'll be devastating if they get knocked out by Cleveland or something like that. That would be devastating. I could guarantee you're going to sell at least one of the big five pieces if that happens. The only way to keep this team together is to win another championship, because that's a terrible look if you sell off a piece just to save some cash when you just won 2 championships in a row and you're on the cusp of a dynasty.
Yeah, and I think Wick Brosbeck came out and said that no team in their right mind or something like that would be over the second apron 2 years in a row. And I know that we are currently well above the second apron, and at this point, we're going to have to get rid of, I think, Drew Holiday next year. He's almost guaranteed gone, and I think maybe one other small contract as well. So maybe Sam Hauser with that Baylor Schreiner guy having a couple big games. I know he then went out and laid an egg next against Utah, but Hauser's probably gone. I don't think we're bringing Horford back. There's going to be some changes that have to happen, but you just have to hope that there's not even more, because it's going to be really hard to stay under the salary cap at all when you have Tatum and Brown on this roster, which is frustrating from a league standpoint. And this is all Jaylen Brown and Grant Williams' fault, Malcolm Brogdon. The guys who negotiated this for the Players Association screwed themselves. How do you not give a team the benefit for having homegrown talent. We should be getting some sort of cap savings for not making a super team through free agency and having our two highest paid players be players we drafted. Instead, we don't get that. We get screwed over, and it's frustrating. So Tim.
Yeah.
Tim mentions this is what I told my dad. It's a conglomerate, similar deal to the current group of owners. This guy does not own 100% of the team. I mean, his stake is probably somewhere around 50 to 70% of the team, but I don't think he's a majority owner. I mean,
he has ultimate say.
He does.
He'll be the majority owner. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. He's not like he doesn't own he's not like I don't know what the percentages are, but he doesn't own 100% of it. So there's other people who are invested here that want to add money. So I'm not too afraid. But like you said, we have to win a championship. If we win a championship and a three-peat's on the table, it's going to be really hard sell for people to dismantle this roster.
Yeah, I don't want even Holiday gone. Nope. We win that championship? Absolutely not. And I actually said when they drafted Schreiber, I said that's Sam House's replacement. That's who that guy is. So maybe Luke Cornett is the Al Horford replacement. I don't know. I can't see them getting rid of Al Horford, but the old man would need to come back on a really cheap deal. He's making like 10 million, I think, this year. He'd probably need to come back for like 4 million, something very humbling if he wanted to play again and stay on this team.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Cornett's gone after the season. He signed a 1-year deal, like what, vet minimum. There's no way he's coming back. I'd imagine he's going to get priced out. I mean, they're going to be at the point where like getting rid of Sam Hauser's contract is going to save him like $50+ million a year in cap.
It's like 4 times whatever the contract is, pretty much.
So, that's why when everybody was talking about Lonnie Walker, Lonnie Walker's like vet min was going to be somewhere around like
12 million.
Yeah, 12 million in actual cash spending. So listen, win the championship. If the guys like the team, if they like the vibes, if they like the energy on the team, win the championship, go out and do it. The Cavs went on a 4-game losing streak. The Thunder have been getting a lot of bad press. Shai Gilgeous has been getting a ton of hate. And I mentioned this on your buddy Chris Tornatolos, or the Tornado. And I think what people wonder, like, why does Shai Gilgeous get all this love and Tatum doesn't? And the reality is Jason Tatum beats your favorite team. He sends them home, sends them to Cancun. He fills up your stadium with his jersey, and then he wins the championship in your face while being a fantastic person. Like, I've never met him, but he's an A1 type of dad, really good kid, right?
Yep.
If you've heard him talk about how much it means to him to be playing in away games, you know that he's a good guy, right? He does all this and he beats your team and sends them home. That's why he has haters. Shai Gilgeous has won one playoff series. The Pelicans with no Zion Williamson. Shai Gilgeous has been getting and even with that, he's been getting a lot of hate recently for the foul baiting and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm so excited for this for the playoffs. I'm absolutely sleepwalking. I mean, right now, what we're at 71 games, so we have 11 more games, 82 to the playoffs. Bring it on. And Jeff Unknown Dad, before you talk about what I just said, most importantly, they need to win so my class can have a repeat pizza party. Seriously, they got to get some pizza. Jeff, what do you call soda up there? Do you give the kids soda? Are you a madman? You dishing out caffeine at these pizza parties? Go ahead, Dad.
Do it for the kids, Celtics. Do it for the kids. All right, get them the pizza. At Tatum, they have to pry that man out of games. Knock on wood, he's always healthy. He always wants to play in case like that little kid shows up. It's his first game ever seeing the Celtics, and Tatum's his favorite player. They have to pry that man out of games to get him to load manage. He's
birthday
just
presents.
Great, quiet superstar who's super humble. And I mean, get ready, folks. Tatum wins another championship this year. Larry Bird was my all-time favorite Celtic. Get ready, because next year, Tatum wins another one. I'm bringing that conversation to the table. Because if he's 27 years old with back-to-back championships, something Bird never did, something no Celtic team has done since the 60s, I'm bringing that to the table. Is this guy a top 3 Celtic of all time at 27 years old with 2 championships? Again, it hasn't happened yet. So knock on whatever. I don't want to jinx them, but we have no idea how lucky we are to have a superstar like Jason Tatum.
Yeah, they were talking about how much the refs hate him too. They said he's the least proud player who should be at the
He
line a lot
cries.
more.
He cries,
he
but again, they don't
he
call it though. They don't call it right. He gets hacked all the time,
all
and
the
probably
time.
because he's been crying since he's a rookie, he never gets the calls.
Yep.
So that's kind of his own fault, Matt.
He also has
He
the
is a whine.
softest technical whistle in the NBA. He's what comparison I saw? And again, he needs to win more championships. But what comparisons I see a lot are, at least from a demeanor standpoint and a success standpoint, Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan used to get technicals from like sitting on the bench laughing, right? I don't know if you remember that technical. It's one of the famous ones. Like the refs, the bar for Tatum to get a technical versus Draymond Green is just so astronomically far apart, right? If Tatum did what Draymond Green did for just throughout the game, Tatum would be tried for murder. He doesn't get a great whistle, but again, he is very consistently successful. We call it pop here, but I prefer saying soda. If the kids bring their own soda in, I'm fine with it. But parents would be furious if I gave their kids soda. Yeah, Jeff, don't take any dietary suggestions from the old bull and I. We'll bring some peanut butter cookies in, Jeff. I'm sure that won't be frowned upon. Bringing peanut butter cookies into a school, but win it for the kids. I'm so excited for the playoffs. I mean, Dad, going into this year's playoffs, is your excitement level or expectations any higher than last year, or is it the same? What would you say?
Oh, it's just as high.
Just as high, equal, you'll
I
say, or
want
more.
like the quickest. I want the quickest 3 weeks in April. First 3 weeks in April. You're not supposed to wish your life away, but man, am I hoping the next 4 weeks goes by so fast. Because we get Celtics playoffs, baby. We got the Patriots draft. Like, get me to the end of April. I am so freaking excited.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I'm struggling like overall. Like, I mean, at this point, we are in the absolute dog days, right? We have so much to look forward to. Very similar to like the NFL free agency, and the Celtics are playing again tonight, back to back against the Kings. It looks like Hal Horford's out, but man, I mean, they talk about a game that really doesn't mean anything. At this point, we got 11 games left in the regular season. We are 7.5 games above the Knicks. I don't see us catching the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't really care enough to catch the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No.
So
no, we're not catching them. We blew that when we lost that last game to them. That's a 2-game swing. We would be within 3 games. Then it might have been an outside shot if Cavaliers keep reeling. Nope. Keep resting our guys. Keep rotating. Missing games. Tatum out 1 game. Brown out the next. Porzingis out 2 games. White out a game. Get that rest going, go into the playoffs nice and fresh, and get ready to lay down the hammer because the road killers are coming.
Yep. So, 58 minutes in. Any other anecdotes, conversations you want to have, Dad? About a very few pundits think anyone can beat the Celtics. Tim, I'm in the same opinion. I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I think there's no way in this world any team in the NBA. Maybe the Nuggets. I feel like Jokic is a absolute problem, but they are far from deep enough compared to their previous years. I think they lost a lot of talent in that regard. So maybe the Nuggets. After that, and I guess maybe the Warriors, because for some reason the Warriors are a bit tough.
Nope.
But bring on OKC, bring on the Rockets, bring on the Lakers, the Grizzlies, any of those guys. I'm totally happy. Resting. Go ahead.
Knocking on wood. Nobody's beating the Celtics if they're healthy. Knock on wood. No one is beating them. And as good as Cleveland and OKC are playing, even like the Stephen A. Smiths and all the other ones are going, it's still not going to matter. The Celtics, they're not. They're not beating the Celtics. Nobody is on those bandwagons. Just about all these big time like basketball pundits. It's all about not. And I don't. Golden State, nope, I don't believe that for 1 second. Even Denver, nope, I don't believe that either. The Celtics team stays healthy, meaning Porzingis plays basically all the games, and that's it. We're rolling.
Yeah, and That's the thing too, right? Because Stephen A. Smith, all those guys, they have to say something that's different. They have to say something startling, right? Like that's how they keep their job, but they can't. That's how boring the Celtics team is. They should roll if they stay
I hate
healthy.
it.
If they stay healthy, even the people who exaggerate cannot think of an exaggerate a world where the Celtics lose.
Yeah.
This team is a wagon. And that's how the Raptors won in 2019. Load management with cry. I don't care if we lose the next 11 games. We're not going to lose the next 11 games, but I don't care if we do. But I would trade these next 11 games for health. And,
Yes.
Overall, I want more minutes for Pritchard. I want more minutes for Hauser. I absolutely love rhythms getting generated for those guys.
Shireman, get him in there.
Yeah, I don't know if
What's his
Shireman's
name,
going to
the
see
new
any
guy?
playoff time, but
Yeah.
Torrey
The
Craig.
other guy, the new. Yep, Craig. Get Craig in there. Get him some minutes. Absolutely. All those guys. Cornette,
Yep.
keep loading him. Kada, all those guys.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So,
all right, guys, please like and subscribe and great job commenting in YouTube tonight. We really appreciate that, guys. Really helps our channel, and you guys are got the greatest little fan base ever. Love you
yeah,
guys.
it's so much fun talking sports to you guys every week. So, Tim told me I need to leave 5 seconds of dead air. So if we freeze, we're gonna freeze, and we're not gonna say anything, and hopefully, it ends at the right time. Hope everybody has a good rest of their week. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Case of the Mondays is over. Enjoy your Tuesday and the Old Bull and Young Calf swag. I gotta make Jeff. I don't know how I could email you, but I need to find your email or something. Jeff, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna write my email, and I need you to email me, Jeff. Actually, I have the Old Bull and Young Calf email, and I'm gonna work on getting you like a hoodie or something, Jeff, for some swag for all your support.
Jeff is our number one. We need to
Yeah.
get him something.
I
Absolutely.
Tim, I pay Tim in the love and friendship of hanging out with him, but I don't get to hang out with Jeff. Hit me up
Yeah.
on that email, Jeff. We're gonna take care of you. I hope I'll add you. You can add me on Facebook. Hit me in the email. You can find my dad on Facebook. My dad freaking adds everybody. Steve Viner too. Catch everybody later. See you, Kurt. Bye.
Love you, Kurt.
Have a good night, everybody.
Take care.